What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on Teen Mom OG Season 8, Episode 3. Cheyenne can finally stop obsessing about Corey because she's now in a long-distance relationship. I don't quite remember all the details she gave about her new man because I was too busy staring at her fine-ass stepdaddy. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Catelynn's about to give birth to Instagram's newest filter, Vaeda Luma, so naturally she and Tyler think it's a brilliant idea to beg a freshly relapsed addict to join them for the occasion. They call Butch and invite him for the birth, and he hesitantly agrees. Over in Tennessee, Ryan's parents sit down in their living room to talk about the impact that him being back in jail for 90 days has had on them. His dad, Larry, says that he hopes that the jail stint humbled Ryan for good this time, while his mom, Mimi Jen, claims that she never shed a single tear about the entire ordeal, which I highly doubt because that is her overgrown toddler. Not for nothing, though, I do have to say that it really does seem like his parents are just over it. Like, they are at their wits' end with the amount of stress that he's causing them, and not to mention embarrassment. Also in Tennessee, Maci noticed that her son Maverick has started to stutter and she's concerned about it. So she gets on her TTM branded computer to do some research and discuss the results with Taylor and his TCM shirt. She was probably on WebMD because everything that she listed off was like the worst case scenario. Like, I personally probably feel like it's a mild stutter that, you know, maybe he'll grow out of it, maybe he won't. But like the results were like, oh, maybe he's got like brain issues. Maybe he's got something wrong with his tongue. Maybe he's got something wrong with the roof of his mouth, and like yada yada yada. So like, thankfully they decided to just go see a specialist rather than stress about like the worst case scenario of what this could be for their son. Also in Tennessee, the Black widow Mackenzie went out to dinner with one of her friends, and she talked about a couple of awkward date nights that she's had with her husband Ryan.
Ryan's been arrested 3 times, and every time he's been arrested, I have been there. Like, I have watched him get put in handcuffs 3 times.
Something that really stuck out to me when she was explaining Ryan getting arrested was the fact that this guy, who's got like this criminal history of drug possession of drug paraphernalia, especially with it being like heroin, right? Who's now wanted for stealing, breaking his probation. The police, when they pull up on him, they allow him to exit the car and go and hug his child.
It was so sad because he went around to the back of the car and got Jagger out and was like, I love you, Jagger, I gotta go. Like,
I'm like, if that were like some other type of people, he would have been shot in his tracks as soon as he unbuckled his seatbelt.
Get out the car! You are gonna get out the car right now!
I think it especially irritated me because like in the news this week, there was like a 4-year-old girl who took a doll from a dollar store, which was like $1. And so the person working there called the cops, and like 6 police pulled up on her and her family with guns out, like threatening to shoot them all. Like, you know, this guy steals beer, has an actual criminal record, is not 4 years old, and he could do whatever he wants. A 4-year-old takes something, doesn't even know what stealing is, and she gets like 6 cops with guns pulled out on her. Come on now. Anyway, Mac continues on to describe what it was like to bring their son Jagger to jail. She like tells like this crazy story about how the person there did not really want Jagger there without proper you know what, just listen to it for yourself.
because I took Jagger, I promised myself I would never take him down there. And I did. You had to like bring his social security card or whatever. And I get there and the lady's like, no. I was like, what do you mean, no? And she was like, you gotta have his birth certificate. I said, I had to have the damn birth certificate to get the social security card. Right. So then she's like, I said, oh yes, it was a great day to go find this random infant on the side of the road, kidnap him, get his social security card, and bring him with a last name that matches mine, and bring him down here to visit an inmate. I just thought that was a perfect idea.
Down in LA, Corey and Cheyenne go out with her family to play with Ryder when all of a sudden her phone walks out of her pocket and onto the floor right as her boyfriend happened to coincidentally, not planned at all, not staged, text her. Of course, this boyfriend happens to also be saved in her phone with a bunch of emojis, and then Corey, of course, when he picked up the phone, had to look at it, you know, and so he teases her, oh, you've got a new boyfriend. After the terribly staged interaction, Corey goes out to lunch with one of his friends and basically describes a day in the life of Javi.
What's up? You know, juggling 3 women. Nothing I'm not used to.
He then celebrates the fact that a man has finally stepped in to get Cheyenne off his back, and his friend believed the phone dropping story just as much as we did.
Well, her phone dropped, and I go, oh, her phone dropped.
Meanwhile, in Michigan, Catelynn gives birth to Vaeda Luma, and Tyler's sister shows up to the hospital with bedazzled cat ears just for the occasion, while Tyler's mom complains about her sleeping.
I wish she'd open her eyes.
And Kate's dad holds her like Simba from The Lion King. We're then transported back to LA, where Amber just finished doing press for the show, so she and Andrew go to a bar to meet up with his friend, who I guess is a bartender or something, and they are just like at the bar like, oh my god, dude, let me tell you what I did today. I've been working, since the morning.
Like today, we've been up since 5 a.m. Doing lots of stuff.
To someone who is on his shift working probably since the morning. I just wish the guy had some sarcasm in him, because it would have been so beautiful for someone to be like, oh my god, are you kidding me? At 29 and 30 something years old, you've been working? How did you manage? The show was just so jam-packed with riveting, intelligent, compelling, entertaining personalities, so much so that we had like a 5-minute scene of Andrew having to use the washroom and him and Amber being stuck in traffic. Like, he drank some kind of like liver, kidney, whatever detox drink and needed to use the washroom. They were stuck in traffic. So he pulls up in a parking garage and pees in there, and we even get the damn sound effects. It was disgusting. Down in Tennessee again, Maci and Taylor take Maverick to see a speech pathologist who advises them to wait it out to see if he grows out of the stutter. Real quick, did anybody else notice that Maci seemed to stutter an awful lot this episode? I don't know if it was producers being shady and just like forcing all these things there to emphasize it or not, because we do know they get shady. Remember what they did when Catelynn claimed her ass was independent. I first noticed it when they were driving in the car on the way to the appointment or somewhere, but just take a look.
I'm anxious to see, I'm ready to hear from someone who knows what they're talking. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Does anyone else in the family demonstrate any kind of disfluency in speech? No.
It happens other times too, but definitely more with the what, why, where. Oh yeah, with the stutter, we
typically just let him kind of finish.
Yeah, we just let him finish and keep.
Back down in LA, Cheyenne and Corey go out for lunch with Amber and Andrew, and he apologizes to Amber for hurting her fragile ego. They then talk about Corey and Cheyenne's new relationships and blah, blah, blah. Yet another filler scene that we really didn't need. Cheyenne then goes back home to her family to talk about potentially meeting Corey's girlfriend Taylor, and they all discuss the type of woman they want to have around Ryder.
People are raised all kind of ways, and so whoever Corey ends up with, you just want them to have similar
morals and values. And we want them to respect themselves and respect Corey and respect Cheyenne
and respect
the child. Yeah.
So who is going to be judging Taylor's moral compass, or any other woman's moral compass here? Is it Cheyenne, the girl who cheated on her long-term boyfriend to have a one-night stand with Corey, like while filming a show, a raw dogging one-night stand, and conceive a child, move in with some other sucker, pawn the child off as his for like 6 months until a medical emergency forces her to really try and figure out who the daddy of this child is? Is she going to be the one to judge whether or not Taylor is respectful of herself and other people, raised right? I had to laugh. Obviously, these are things that you do want in a woman who's going to be around your child, but considering who Cheyenne is, being a thotty, alleged thotty, it's funny. And now, in the last scene of the episode, Catelynn and Tyler are back home with a baby and complaining that Butch didn't come up to Michigan to do drugs around the family and see his granddaughter through drug-tinted glasses. Tyler's mom, Kim, even texted Butch a scathing message for relapsing and missing the birth.
So I said, so as I sit here and type this letter to you, Butch, my heart is very heavy, sad, and pissed off. You had the opportunity to be present for the birth of our 5th grandchild, something you never got to experience before, and you blew it. To see the disappointment in my son and daughter-in-law's eyes was too much for me to bear. I know Tyler acted like it was not a big deal, and that was your choice, but I know what hurt looks like in my kids' eyes, because you see, Butch, I've seen it all their lives. As a 53-year-old woman that has known you since I was 15 years old, I am done with my relationship with you. You are dead to me, and I never thought I would say that to you, but as far as I'm concerned, I never knew you. I'm washing my hands with you, Butch. I will continue to pray that you find your self-worth, and it's not too late for the kids.
I personally think that it's in the best interest of everybody for Butch to just be healthy, before being around this child, but I digress. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on Teen Mom OG Season 8, Episode 3, and as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything, so please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.